Hey everyone, this is Isaac here, and welcome back to Isaac Reviews 2022. You want to know something weird? For some reason, 2022 seems to be the year of film adaptations of the classic Italian children's story Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. And that's already a very difficult task considering how iconic the animated Disney film is. And when I say it's iconic, I mean it's one of Walt's most beloved works in his entire filmography. But the original Pinocchio story is in the public domain, so adaptations outside of the Disney classic do exist, some better than others. And in 2022, we've seen 3 instances of this. First, there was Pinocchio, A True Story, which was very,
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
The less said about that one, the better. And we also had a live-action remake of the previously mentioned Disney classic that came out on the same day Queen Elizabeth died. Well, maybe it's a live-action remake since most of the movie is just terrible CGI, but I digress. Also, it was complete garbage. And yeah, I know the Disney remakes usually end up being awful with like 2 real exceptions, but this one was just an absolute pain to sit through. And now we have another Pinocchio adaptation, this time from visionary filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, who you might know for his work on films such as Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim, and The Shape of Water. He's definitely a talented director, and he seemed really passionate about this one, especially since it was in development hell for a long time before Netflix picked it up and let del Toro's vision come to life. From the trailers I saw leading up to its release, I gotta say, it looked fantastic. And since it's on Netflix now, I can confirm that yes, it was indeed fantastic. Story-wise, it's sorta the same as the Collodi novel, but with a few twists. It takes place in fascist Italy during World War II, where a man named Geppetto is still grieving from the loss of his son Carlo, who died from a bomb explosion during the First World War. One night, in a drunken stupor, he creates a puppet who becomes animate thanks to a mythical spirit called the Wood Sprite and is named Pinocchio, and a talking cricket named Sebastian helps guide him to behave in exchange for a wish to be granted by the Wood Sprite. So, Pinocchio is brought to life, and he spends the rest of the film learning not just how to do the right thing, but also just how precious life is. And easily the best part of the film would be its writing and direction. As I just mentioned, the main theme presented here, beyond being honest of course, is that life is so sacred because it's limited. This is highlighted with the fact that Pinocchio is immortal and would thus outlive all his loved ones. But since we viewers are humans, we don't have the same luxury. So it's best for us to enjoy what we have while we're able to, which is definitely a thought-provoking message that this movie executed very well. Also, the direction from Guillermo del Toro and newcomer Mark Gustafson was definitely a highlight, especially with the tone and pacing. While it's endearing and it has some nice bits of dialogue, it's also dark, and I mean really dark. Hell, some of the scenes here honestly rival the Disney version of Pinocchio in terms of how terrifying they can get. But it's not all doom and gloom here, as there are some moments of comedic levity, mainly the slapstick involving Sebastian J. Cricket. And the humor here is honestly pretty good where, thanks to the great direction, it doesn't end up feeling like mood whiplash and it's given plenty of space from some of the more intense scenes. In fact, I'll even admit that there were a few scenes here that got me to cry. I know there's been like 4 other movies this year that made me cry, but this one got really sad, especially towards the end. Similar to the script, the characters are also familiar but still unique in their own ways. Pinocchio is basically a naive and innocent child with no real understanding of the world around him, which works spectacularly well for his arc. Geppetto is very tragic but still sympathetic all the while. Sebastian is a charming comic relief whose presence also helps some of the more emotional moments, and Count Volpe is an excellent and sinister villain, and Christoph Waltz does a fantastic job in the role. In fact, all the actors here were incredible. Gregory Mann definitely has a bright career ahead of him. Ron Perlman helped make the Podesta even more intimidating than he already was. I loved how Tilda Swinton's voice captured the mysterious and ethereal personality of the wood sprite, and somehow, Cate Blanchett of all people did a great job at voicing a monkey. I mean, I'd usually expect someone like Frank Welker or D. Bradley Baker to do those sort of vocals, but hey, good on Cate Blanchett. There's also a handful of songs in the film, and all of them are great. The singing is good, and all the songs do a great job encapsulating the emotion of the scene they're in. Ciao Papa is definitely the strongest number, and it seems like a great contender for Best Original Song, but all the other songs were also really good, and the score from Alexandre Desplat was excellent, and I like how it implemented a lot of wood-based instruments since, of course, Pinocchio is made out of wood. If there's a teensy-weensy little nitpick I'd have with GDT's Pinocchio, it would be with the animation and how sometimes the integration of CGI could look a bit obvious. Other than that though, the animation in this movie is just beautiful. Stop motion is definitely an underrated form of animation, and the sheer amount of effort and craftsmanship put in by the people working on it, with the little details and imperfections added, just only adds on to how much of a labor of love this movie truly is. Turns out this is actually Guillermo del Toro's first time directing an animated movie, even though he's executive produced a few in the past. And it's great to see the work he put in here since he's gone on record and said that he really does admire the medium of animation. And I do too. It's just that in recent years, we've been seeing more and more of these movies that don't seem to care about just how much potential the medium of animation has, and would instead treat it as a genre exclusively intended for kids when that couldn't be farther from the truth. Animation is cinema. It can transport us beyond the limits of our imagination. It can push the boundaries of what's considered possible, and it can tell stories that resonate with generations of viewers. And that's why I love Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio so much, because it pushes beyond the unfortunate stereotypes animation faces today and delivers the best adaptation of the Carlo Collodi story since the Disney classic. Not sure which one's better, but two legends can coexist at the same time, right? Back onto the Guillermo del Toro version, just about everything here is a love letter to not only the story of Pinocchio, but to animation as a medium. The writing is dark and mature while still being endearing, the voice acting is excellent, the songs and score are wonderful to listen to, the animation is gorgeous, and the emotional moments hit me with the equivalent force of a dumbbell to the chest. Please, I implore all of you, go watch this movie. Like, I'm almost done with this video, but once it's over, get on Netflix and give this movie a watch. Trust me, it'll be worth your time. It sure was for me. And who knows, maybe in a few decades, this'll be as fondly looked back upon as the Disney classic. Honestly, that'd be pretty nice. Join me next time for my review of Night at the Museum: Kamun-Ra Rises Again. I don't blame you if you didn't know this existed since Disney completely neglected to advertise it until 9 days before it came out on Disney+, but I've seen it, and it's definitely the worst film of the franchise, and its existence in general was basically pointless, especially since the third one was marketed as the finale, and it came out not too long after Robin Williams died, so suffice to say, yeah, it sucked. Keep your eyes peeled for my review to find out why. In the meantime though, thanks for watching this one, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!